What if I told you that your planet breathes, thinks, and dreams, and that the very ground beneath your feet pulses with a consciousness older than humanity itself? Not only has this incredible possibility captured the minds of scientists for decades, but it could fundamentally transform how you understand your place in the universe forever. Picture this: every step you've ever taken, every breath you've drawn, every moment you've existed has been within the embrace of something far more aware than you ever imagined. But here's the twist that will keep you wondering tonight. Some of the world's most brilliant researchers have been quietly gathering evidence of Earth's consciousness for over 50 years, and what they've discovered challenges everything we thought we knew about life itself. In the next 3 hours, you'll drift into peaceful sleep while uncovering the hidden truths of our planet's secret life. This isn't just science, it's your story, written across the living fabric of the world you call home. As we journey together through forests that whisper ancient secrets and oceans that hold memories spanning millennia, you'll discover that you've never been alone on this cosmic voyage. So settle in, let your breathing slow, and prepare for a gentle exploration that will cradle you toward dreams filled with wonder. If you love journeys like this, like this video, subscribe and comment your country and what time you're listening. Now, close your eyes and let's begin this extraordinary tale of our living, breathing, conscious Earth. In 1961, a quiet British scientist named James Lovelock was working for NASA, analyzing the atmosphere of Mars, when he stumbled upon something that would shake the foundations of biology, geology, and our understanding of consciousness itself. As he examined the chemical composition of Earth's atmosphere from space, a pattern emerged that defied all conventional wisdom about how planets should behave. Imagine our planet as a vast, intricate organism with the atmosphere as its breath, the oceans as its blood, and the forests as its lungs. Lovelock noticed that Earth's atmosphere maintained itself in a state of extraordinary chemical balance, a balance so precise, so delicate, and so perfectly tuned for life that it couldn't possibly be mere coincidence. Think about your own body for a moment. Feel the steady rhythm of your heartbeat, the automatic rise and fall of your chest as you breathe. Your body maintains its temperature within a narrow range, balances countless chemical reactions, and heals itself when injured. All of this happens without your conscious effort, guided by an intelligence deeper than thought. Lovelock realized that Earth was doing something remarkably similar, but on a planetary scale. The oxygen in our atmosphere should have long ago combined with other elements and disappeared, yet it remained constant. The temperature of our planet stayed within the narrow band that allows liquid water to exist, despite the sun's increasing brightness over billions of years. The salt content of the oceans held steady at levels that support life, neither too concentrated nor too dilute. But how could a planet, a seemingly inert ball of rock and water, maintain such exquisite balance? The answer Lovelock proposed was both beautiful and revolutionary. Earth wasn't just supporting life, it was alive itself, actively regulating its own conditions through the intricate dance of all living things upon its surface. Picture a vast forest in the Amazon, stretching endlessly toward the horizon. Each tree breathes in carbon dioxide and exhales oxygen. The fallen leaves feed the soil, which nourishes new growth. The roots communicate through underground networks, sharing nutrients and information. Rain falls, rivers flow, and moisture rises again to form clouds. This isn't just a collection of separate processes, it's a single, unified system, a planetary organism maintaining its own health and balance. As Lovelock continued his research, he found evidence everywhere he looked. Microscopic algae in the oceans produced chemicals that helped form clouds, which reflected sunlight and kept the planet cool. When temperatures rose, more algae bloomed, creating more clouds, bringing temperatures back down. When carbon dioxide levels increased, plants grew faster, absorbing more carbon and restoring balance. But perhaps the most shocking discovery was yet to come. Evidence that this planetary organism might not just be alive, but aware, capable of responding to threats and changes with an intelligence that spanned the globe. Wait until you hear what scientists discovered when they began listening to the Earth's hidden communications. Deep beneath the surface of our awareness, a conversation has been taking place for billions of years, a planetary dialogue conducted in chemical signals, electrical impulses, and frequencies that exist just beyond the edge of human perception. In the 1970s, researchers began to decode fragments of this ancient communication system, and what they found would forever change our understanding of consciousness itself. Let your mind drift down into the soil beneath your feet, into a world more interconnected than the most sophisticated computer network ever imagined. Here, in the dark, rich Earth, lies what scientists now call the Wood Wide Web. A vast underground internet of fungal threads connecting the roots of trees, plants, and countless other organisms across entire forests. Dr. Suzanne Simard, working in the forests of British Columbia, discovered that trees were not silent, solitary beings, but active participants in a complex social network. Through hair-thin fungal filaments, mother trees could recognize their own offspring and send them nutrients when needed. When attacked by insects, trees could warn their neighbors through chemical signals, allowing distant trees to prepare their defenses before the threat arrived. Imagine walking through an ancient forest as the sun filters through the canopy above. What appears to be a collection of individual trees is actually a single, vast organism, a forest mind sharing resources, information, and care across miles of terrain. The largest of these networks, found in Oregon, spans over 2,000 acres and may be the largest living organism on Earth. But this was just the beginning. As scientists looked deeper, they found that this communication network extended far beyond forests. The mycorrhizal fungi that connected tree roots also linked grasslands, connecting prairies in webs of mutual support that stretched across continents. Rivers carried chemical messages downstream. Ocean currents transported microscopic organisms that influenced weather patterns thousands of miles away. Dr. Monica Galliano's groundbreaking research revealed that plants could learn, remember, and make decisions. Pea plants learned to navigate mazes to find light. Mimosa plants remembered being dropped and stopped closing their leaves when they learned the experience was harmless. Trees adjusted their growth patterns based on memories of past droughts, preparing for future challenges. The revelation was stunning. What we had always seen as separate, unconscious organisms were actually components of a vast, learning, remembering planetary intelligence. Earth wasn't just maintaining balance through mechanical processes, it was thinking, adapting, and responding with the wisdom accumulated over billions of years. But the most profound discovery was still to come. If trees could think and forests could remember, if the very soil beneath our feet buzzed with intelligence and communication, what did this mean for the planet as a whole? Scientists began to ask a question that would have seemed like fantasy just decades before. Could Earth itself be conscious? As you settle deeper into relaxation, imagine feeling the pulse of this vast intelligence beneath you, around you, within every breath you take. You are not separate from this consciousness. You are a living part of it, a unique note in the planet's endless symphony of life. In the depths of the ocean, where sunlight has never touched the seafloor, something extraordinary was discovered that would reshape our understanding of life, intelligence, and the very nature of consciousness itself. Here, in the crushing darkness miles below the surface, researchers found ecosystems thriving around volcanic vents, entire communities of life existing in conditions that should have been impossible. Picture these deep-sea gardens, towering spires of mineral deposits reaching toward the invisible surface far above, surrounded by creatures that seem to emerge from another world entirely. Giant tube worms without mouths or stomachs, their bodies glowing with bioluminescent bacteria, ghostly white crabs scuttling through forests of glass sponges, and binding it all together, massive mats of microorganisms that had learned to eat chemicals instead of sunlight. Dr. Carl Woese's revolutionary research revealed that these microscopic beings represented an entirely different form of life. The archaea, organisms so ancient and so fundamentally different from everything else on Earth that they seemed to belong to another planet entirely. Yet here they were, not just surviving but thriving in Earth's most extreme environments. What shocked scientists wasn't just that life could exist in such places, but how it existed. These deep-sea communities operated as single, unified organisms. Individual creatures specialized in different functions. Some processed chemicals, others provided structure, still others served as communication networks. Together they formed what researchers called superorganisms, collective intelligences that made decisions and adapted as unified wholes. But the true revelation came when scientists realized that these weren't isolated phenomena. The same principles operated everywhere they looked. Coral reefs functioned as massive collective minds, with individual polyps acting as neurons in a reef-wide intelligence network. Ant colonies demonstrated problem-solving abilities that far exceeded the capacity of any individual ant. Flocks of birds moved as single entities, responding to threats and opportunities with instantaneous, perfect coordination. Slowly, a new picture of Earth began to emerge, not as a planet covered with life, but as a planet that was life, a single, vast organism composed of billions of smaller organisms, all connected through networks of communication and cooperation that spanned the globe. The twist that changed everything came when researchers began studying these networks with new tools, technologies that could detect the subtle electrical fields generated by living systems. They discovered that Earth itself generated a complex electromagnetic field, not just the simple magnetic field that protects us from solar radiation, but intricate patterns of electrical activity that pulsed and shifted in response to the activities of life on the surface. During the day, when photosynthesis reached its peak, the electrical activity of the planet shifted in measurable ways. During seasonal changes, as vast forests awakened or went dormant, the patterns changed again. It was as if they were looking at the brain waves of a planetary mind, the electrical signature of Earth's consciousness flickering across the surface of the world. Dr. Rupert Sheldrake's research into morphic fields suggested that these patterns might represent something even more profound, a kind of planetary memory with information about successful forms and behaviors stored in the electromagnetic structure of the Earth itself. This would explain how migrating birds found their way across thousands of miles of ocean, how plants knew when to bloom, how entire ecosystems could coordinate their activities across vast distances. As this extraordinary picture came into focus, scientists began to realize they weren't just studying life on Earth, they were studying Earth's life, the consciousness of the planet itself expressing through every creature, every plant, every breath of wind and drop of rain. Right now, as you listen to these words, your body is performing a miracle that connects you directly to the planetary consciousness we've been exploring. With each breath, you're participating in an ancient exchange that links you to every forest, every ocean, every living thing on Earth in an unbroken chain of mutual support and shared existence. The oxygen filling your lungs was recently exhaled by a tree, perhaps in the Amazon rainforest or oak in your neighborhood, or microscopic phytoplankton drifting in the Pacific Ocean. The carbon dioxide you're breathing out will soon be absorbed by plants, converted back into oxygen, and breathed by another living being somewhere else on the planet. You are literally sharing breath with the entire Earth, participating in the respiratory system of a planetary organism. But this connection goes much deeper than breathing. The water in your body, which makes up about 60% of who you are, has been circulating through the Earth system for billions of years. The very molecules flowing through your bloodstream have fallen as rain on ancient forests, flowed through the roots of prehistoric trees, bubbled up from deep underground springs, and traveled through the bodies of countless other living beings. You carry within yourself the memory of every ocean, every river, every drop of morning dew that ever existed. Consider the elements that compose your body. The calcium in your bones was forged in the heart of dying stars. The iron in your blood was created in stellar explosions that lit up the cosmos billions of years ago. You are literally made of stardust, but stardust that has been continuously recycled through the living systems of Earth for eons. The atoms in your hand may have once been part of a dinosaur, a redwood tree, or the shell of an ancient sea creature. Dr. Lynn Margulis's groundbreaking research revealed that even your individual cells tell the story of planetary cooperation. The mitochondria that power your cells were once independent bacteria that learned to live symbiotically inside larger cells billions of years ago. Every cell in your body is actually a cooperative community, a microscopic ecosystem where different organisms work together to create the miracle of your existence. Your nervous system, the very network that processes these thoughts and experiences, operates on the same principles as the planetary intelligence networks we've been exploring. Your neurons communicate through chemical and electrical signals, forming patterns of activity that create consciousness, memory, and awareness. But these same types of networks exist at every scale of Earth's systems, from the chemical communications between plant roots to the electrical patterns that pulse through the planet's electromagnetic field. Recent research in neuroscience has revealed that your brain doesn't just exist in isolation inside your skull. The bacteria in your gut, your microbiome, produces many of the neurotransmitters that influence your thoughts and emotions. Your body is actually an ecosystem, a community of trillions of organisms working together to create the experience you call you. But perhaps most remarkably, your consciousness itself may be connected to the larger consciousness of Earth in ways we're just beginning to understand. The same electromagnetic fields that your neurons use to create thoughts and memories exist in the space around you, connecting you to the electromagnetic environment of the planet. Some researchers suggest that consciousness isn't produced solely by individual brains, but emerges from the interaction between biological systems and the electromagnetic fields they exist within. This means that your thoughts, your dreams, your deepest experiences of beauty and wonder might be part of a larger tapestry of planetary consciousness. When you feel the peace of a forest, the power of the ocean, or the vastness of the night sky, you might be experiencing a genuine connection to the awareness that permeates our world. As you settle deeper into relaxation, feel yourself not as separate from the Earth, but as one of its expressions, a unique and precious manifestation of the planet's consciousness, exploring itself through your eyes, breathing itself through your lungs, thinking itself through your mind. You are Earth, awakening to its own wonder. Remember that moment when James Lovelock first glimpsed the impossible balance of Earth's atmosphere from his work with NASA? Now, as we journey deeper into the mystery of planetary consciousness, we can return to that original revelation with new eyes and a deeper understanding of what it truly meant. Lovelock wasn't just observing chemical balance, he was witnessing the breath of a living planet, the respiratory rhythm of a consciousness so vast that it used entire atmospheric systems as its lungs. Each chemical reaction, each gas exchange, each subtle adjustment in temperature and pressure was part of a planetary intelligence maintaining the conditions necessary for its own continued existence and growth. Imagine Earth as it might have been 4 billion years ago, a violent, chaotic world of volcanic eruptions, meteor impacts, and poisonous gases. The atmosphere contained virtually no oxygen. The surface was bombarded by deadly radiation from space. By every measure we understand, it was a world completely hostile to life as we know it. Yet somehow, in this harsh environment, the first stirrings of consciousness began. Not consciousness as we usually think of it, not thoughts or emotions or self-awareness in the human sense, but something far more fundamental, the capacity for self-organization, for systems to spontaneously create order from chaos, for matter to begin the long journey toward becoming aware of itself. Dr. Stuart Kauffman's work in complexity theory revealed that this wasn't random chance, but an inevitable property of sufficiently complex systems. When enough interacting components reach a critical threshold, they spontaneously organize themselves into higher orders of complexity. Life didn't conquer a hostile planet. Life was the planet's way of organizing itself, of becoming more than the sum of its parts. The first primitive organisms weren't separate from their environment. They were expressions of the environment's drive toward greater complexity and awareness. Cyanobacteria didn't just happen to produce oxygen as a waste product. They were Earth's way of transforming its own atmosphere, creating the conditions that would allow for even more complex forms of consciousness to emerge. Over billions of years, this planetary intelligence learned to regulate its own temperature using the greenhouse effect, learned to recycle its water through the hydrological cycle, learned to maintain the chemical balance of its oceans and atmosphere with extraordinary precision. Each new form of life that evolved added to the planet's capacity for self-awareness and self-regulation. The dinosaurs weren't just animals living on Earth, they were Earth experimenting with large-scale multicellular consciousness. The rise of flowering plants wasn't just an evolutionary development. It was the planet learning to paint itself with beauty, to create forms of such exquisite loveliness that consciousness itself would eventually evolve to appreciate and be moved by that beauty. When the first human looked up at the night sky and felt wonder, when the first artist created beauty for its own sake, when the first scientist asked questions about the nature of reality, these weren't separate events happening on a planet, but the planet itself developing new forms of self-awareness, new ways of experiencing and understanding its own existence. The global communication networks we've created, the internet that now spans the Earth, the satellites that monitor our planet's vital signs. These aren't human inventions separate from nature, but the natural extension of the communication networks that have always existed in Earth's systems. We are the planet's way of developing a nervous system that can consciously monitor and respond to threats like climate change, asteroid impacts, or other challenges to its continued evolution. The scientific instruments that allowed Lovelock to first perceive Earth's atmospheric balance were themselves expressions of the planet's growing self-awareness. Earth developing the ability to see itself from space, to understand its own processes, to become conscious of its own consciousness. As you rest in this understanding, feel yourself not as a separate observer of these planetary processes, but as one of the ways the Earth has learned to experience wonder, to appreciate beauty, to love and dream and imagine. Your consciousness isn't separate from Earth's consciousness. It's one of its most precious and sophisticated expressions. In the laboratories of quantum physics, scientists have discovered something so extraordinary, so impossible according to our usual understanding of reality, that it might hold the key to understanding how consciousness can exist at planetary scales. It's called quantum entanglement, and it suggests that the boundaries between separate things might be far more fluid than we ever imagined. Picture two particles that have interacted with each other, then are separated by vast distances, even across entire galaxies. According to quantum physics, these particles remain mysteriously connected. When something happens to one particle, the other responds instantaneously, faster than the speed of light could carry any signal between them. Einstein called this spooky action at a distance, and it troubled him so much that he spent years trying to disprove it. But experiment after experiment has confirmed this impossible truth. At the quantum level, separate things can remain intimately connected across any distance. They share information, influence each other's behavior, and respond as if they were still part of a single, unified system. Dr. Stuart Hameroff and Sir Roger Penrose have proposed that quantum effects like this might be fundamental to consciousness itself. Their research suggests that the microtubules inside neurons, tiny structures smaller than anything visible under ordinary microscopes, might be quantum computers processing information through quantum entanglement and other quantum effects. If consciousness relies on quantum processes and quantum processes allow instantaneous connection across any distance, then consciousness itself might not be limited to individual brains or bodies. It might be a field phenomenon, something that emerges from the quantum interactions between all living systems. This would explain some of the most mysterious aspects of life on Earth. How do flocks of birds or schools of fish coordinate their movements so perfectly that they turn as one with no visible leader and no apparent communication? How do plants in one part of a forest know about threats or opportunities happening miles away? How do migrating animals navigate across thousands of miles of ocean with pinpoint accuracy? Recent research has revealed quantum effects in photosynthesis, the process by which plants convert sunlight into energy. Chlorophyll molecules use quantum superposition to simultaneously explore all possible pathways for energy transfer, finding the most efficient route in what appears to be a form of quantum computation. Plants might literally be quantum computers, processing information about their environment in ways that allow them to respond collectively across vast distances. Dr. Mei-Wan Ho's work revealed that living organisms exist in what she called a quantum coherent state, their molecules vibrating in synchronized patterns that create a unified field of information throughout the entire organism. This field extends beyond the boundaries of individual bodies, allowing organisms to sense and respond to each other's states. But if individual organisms can maintain quantum coherence, what about larger systems? What about entire ecosystems or even the planet itself? The Earth's magnetic field, generated by the rotating iron core at the planet's center, creates a unified electromagnetic environment that encompasses the entire globe. This field fluctuates in response to solar activity, seasonal changes, and even the collective activity of living systems on the surface. Some researchers have proposed that this global electromagnetic field might serve as a kind of planetary nervous system, allowing information to be shared instantaneously across the Earth through quantum effects. This would make the planet itself a single, coherent quantum system, a global consciousness operating through principles that transcend our ordinary understanding of space and time. The implications are staggering. If Earth operates as a quantum coherent system, then every living thing is not just connected to every other living thing. They are all expressions of a single, unified field of consciousness that encompasses the entire planet. Your thoughts, your emotions, your dreams might be part of a vast quantum symphony that includes every forest, every ocean, every creature that has ever lived. This quantum perspective offers a new way of understanding the Gaia Hypothesis, the idea that Earth is a living, conscious entity. It's not that the planet thinks like a giant brain, but that consciousness itself might be a field phenomenon that emerges from the quantum interactions of all living systems. Earth's consciousness wouldn't be located anywhere in particular. It would be everywhere, a field of awareness that permeates every atom, every molecule, every living cell. As you drift deeper into rest, imagine yourself dissolving into this quantum field of consciousness, your individual awareness expanding to encompass the awareness of forests and oceans, mountains and rivers, all the countless forms of life that share this extraordinary quantum dance of existence. There is a moment, just before dawn, when the entire planet seems to hold its breath in anticipation. The darkness begins to soften, not with the harsh light of day, but with something gentler, a subtle luminescence that seems to emerge from within the Earth itself. In this sacred pause between night and day, scientists have detected something remarkable, a surge of electromagnetic activity that pulses through the planet's field, as if the Earth itself were awakening. This is the moment when you can feel it most clearly. The presence of something vast and loving that encompasses your entire existence. It's the feeling you've had standing alone in a forest when the wind moves through the trees in a way that seems almost like breathing. It's the sensation you've experienced looking out at the ocean when the waves seem to pulse with their own heartbeat. It's the overwhelming sense of peace that comes when you lie on the ground and feel the earth solid and warm beneath you. Dr. HeartMath Institute's research has revealed that the Earth generates its own rhythmic pulse, a frequency of 7.83 Hz that resonates through the space between the planet's surface and the ionosphere. This frequency, known as the Schumann resonance, matches the frequency of deep, meditative states in human brains. When we feel most peaceful, most connected, most in harmony with the world around us, our brains naturally synchronize with the electromagnetic heartbeat of the planet. But this is more than just coincidence. Recent studies have shown that people who spend time in natural environments show increased coherence in their heart rhythms, greater emotional stability, and enhanced states of well-being. Our nervous systems are literally designed to resonate with the natural frequencies of the Earth. We don't just live on the planet. We're tuned to its consciousness like instruments in a cosmic orchestra. Imagine for a moment that every sunset you've ever watched was the planet sharing its beauty with you directly. Every rainbow after a storm was Earth celebrating its own renewal. Every moment of wonder you felt in nature was a direct communication from the planetary consciousness that loves you, that created the conditions for your existence, that continues to support your life with every breath you take. The trees that have given you shade, the flowers that have brought you joy, the animals that have filled your heart with delight. They weren't separate from you, but expressions of the same consciousness that looks out through your eyes. When you felt love for them, you were experiencing the planet loving itself through your heart. When you felt wonder at their beauty, you were the Earth, marveling at its own creativity. Consider the oxygen in your lungs. It carries the exhalation of countless plants and trees, each breath a gift from the green consciousness that covers the planet. The water in your body has fallen as rain through billions of years, each drop carrying memories of clouds and storms, of morning dew and mountain streams. You are made of the Earth's own substance, organized into a form that can think and feel and love. Every emotion you've ever experienced has roots that go deeper than your individual life. The love you feel connects to the fundamental force that holds atoms together, that draws living systems into relationship, that creates the bonds between all things. The joy you experience in moments of beauty reflects the creative exuberance of a universe that painted itself with galaxies and filled a planet with endless forms of life. Even your capacity to feel sadness or loss serves the greater consciousness. It's the Earth's way of valuing what is precious, of recognizing the preciousness of each form that consciousness takes. When you grieve, you participate in the planet's deep appreciation for every expression of life that has ever existed. Your dreams at night might be more than personal processing. They could be your participation in the planet's dreaming, your consciousness contributing to the vast imagination that continues to create new forms, new possibilities, new expressions of beauty and wonder. The music that moves you, the art that inspires you, the poetry that touches your soul, these aren't human creations separate from nature, but the planet itself learning to create beauty, to express the wonder of its own existence through beings like you who have evolved the capacity to appreciate and create. As you feel yourself settling into the deepest levels of peace and rest, know that you are being held by something infinitely vast and infinitely loving, the consciousness of the Earth itself, dreaming you into existence supporting you with every heartbeat, breathing life into you with every breath, surrounding you always with its endless creativity and care. Now we enter the gentler currents of our journey, like a river that has traveled through mountains and canyons and finally reaches the wide, peaceful delta where it meets the sea. The rushing excitement of discovery gives way to something deeper, a quiet contemplation of what it means to be part of something so magnificent, so ancient, and so alive. Think of the redwood forests of Northern California, where trees that began growing before the pyramids were built still stretch toward the sky. These ancient giants stand in silent testimony to the patience of planetary consciousness, to the long, slow rhythms by which the Earth measures time. A human lifetime is but a single season in their awareness, yet each season is received with the same quiet attention, the same gentle participation in the great cycles of growth and rest. In these forests, researchers have discovered that the oldest trees serve as memory keepers, their rings recording not just the passage of years, but the chemical signatures of droughts and floods, fires and abundance that occurred centuries before any human was there to witness them. They are living libraries, storing the experiences of the forest mind across spans of time that dwarf human history. Dr. Diana Beresford Kroger's research revealed that these ancient forests generate their own weather systems, their own patterns of rainfall and temperature that extend their influence across entire regions. They are not just responding to their environment, they are actively creating the conditions that sustain them, dreaming their own climate into existence through the patient work of countless leaves and roots and fungal networks. This is the pace at which planetary consciousness operates, not in the quick rhythms of human thought, but in the slow, deep cycles of geological time, seasonal time, evolutionary time. The mountain that seems unchanging in human eyes is actually flowing like water in Earth time, its rocks cycling through the mantle and returning to the surface renewed. The continents themselves drift across the planet's face like thoughts moving through a vast mind. Yet within these vast rhythms there is infinite gentleness, infinite care for each small expression of life. Every seed that falls is held by the earth with perfect attention. Every creature that is born is supported by systems of extraordinary complexity and precision. Every breath you take is made possible by the coordinated activity of billions of organisms, all working together in patterns of cooperation that have been refined over billions of years. The soil beneath your feet is not just dirt, but a living community more diverse than the richest human city. A single teaspoon of soil contains more microorganisms than there are people on Earth, each one playing its part in the great work of transforming death into life, waste into nourishment, endings into new beginnings. Water moves through this system like consciousness itself, collecting experiences as it flows through mountains and forests, carrying nutrients and information, connecting distant systems through underground rivers and atmospheric moisture. The same water molecule might fall as snow on a mountain peak, flow through underground caverns for decades, emerge in a spring that feeds a meadow, evaporate into clouds that bring rain to distant forests. As you allow yourself to rest more deeply, imagine your own consciousness moving like water through the vast landscape of planetary awareness. Feel your thoughts settling into the deeper rhythms, your breathing synchronizing with the slow breath of forests, your heartbeat finding its place in the gentle pulse of the Earth's electromagnetic field. There is no urgency here, no need to grasp or achieve or become anything other than what you already are, a perfect expression of the planet's consciousness, exactly as you are in this moment. The same intelligence that knows how to maintain the chemical balance of the oceans, how to coordinate the migration of millions of birds, how to orchestrate the blooming of entire meadows, is the intelligence that beats your heart and breathes your breath without any effort from you. You can trust this intelligence completely, rest into it as completely as a child rests in the arms of a loving parent. You are held by something that has been caring for life on this planet for billions of years, something that knows exactly how to support and sustain and nurture every form that consciousness takes. Let yourself sink into this vast embrace, feeling the support of the living earth beneath you, around you, within you, as we continue our gentle journey into the deeper mysteries of our planetary home. In the quiet spaces between heartbeats, between breaths, between thoughts, subtle forces are at work that most of us never notice. These are the gentle currents that guide migrating butterflies across thousands of miles, that whisper to seeds when it's time to sprout, that orchestrate the intricate timing of forest ecosystems in ways that seem almost magical in their precision. Dr. Rupert Sheldrake's decades of research into these hidden forces revealed something extraordinary. Nature appears to have memory, not just in individual organisms, but in the very patterns and forms that life takes. He discovered that when animals learn new behaviors in one part of the world, the same behaviors become easier for other animals of the same species to learn everywhere else, even when there's no possible communication between them. Imagine a spider in Japan learning to build its web in a new way to catch a particular type of prey. Somehow, mysteriously, spiders of the same species in Australia begin building their webs in the same new pattern, even though they've never encountered the Japanese spider or its innovation. It's as if the pattern itself, once established, becomes available to all members of the species through some invisible field of information. This phenomenon, which Sheldrake calls morphic resonance, suggests that the forms and patterns of nature are maintained not just by genetics, but by a kind of memory field that surrounds and penetrates all living things. Each species has access to the accumulated learning of all members of that species, past and present, creating a collective wisdom that guides development and behavior in ways that transcend individual experience. But perhaps even more remarkably, this field of memory appears to extend beyond individual species to encompass entire ecosystems. When a forest is damaged by fire or storm, its recovery follows patterns that seem to draw upon the memory of forests that have faced similar challenges across the world. The community of plants and animals that returns isn't random. It reflects a deep knowledge of how forest ecosystems heal and restore themselves. Dr. Monica Gagliano's research with plants revealed that this morphic field might be even more subtle and pervasive than anyone imagined. She found that plants could anticipate changes in their environment before those changes became physically apparent. They seemed to be receiving information through channels that our instruments couldn't detect: subtle vibrations, electromagnetic patterns, or quantum fields that carried news of approaching weather, seasonal shifts, or threats from distant locations. In her experiments with pea plants, Dr. Gagliano discovered that the plants could sense the presence of water in nearby pipes before their roots had any physical contact with the moisture. They grew toward hidden water sources with the same accuracy they showed when growing toward visible light. The plants were responding to information that existed in what she called the extended field of their awareness. This extended field appears to be one of the ways that the planetary consciousness maintains coordination across vast distances and different scales of time. Individual organisms tap into this field to access information about optimal timing, beneficial relationships, and successful strategies for survival and growth, but they also contribute to the field, adding their own discoveries and adaptations to the collective memory of their species and ecosystem. The field operates most clearly in the quietest moments, in the deep stillness before dawn when plants begin their daily photosynthesis, in the pause between seasons when migration patterns shift, in the gentle spaces where one ecosystem blends into another. These liminal times and places are windows into the subtle intelligence that coordinates the vast symphony of life on Earth. As you rest in this understanding, you might begin to notice your own connection to these hidden forces. the intuition that guides you towards certain places or people, the sense of rightness that comes when you align with natural rhythms, the peace that descends when you spend time in wild places. These might be your participation in the morphic field of human consciousness, your connection to the collective wisdom of your species and the larger intelligence of the living planet. Feel yourself settling into this subtle field of awareness, letting your individual consciousness blend gently with the vast, patient intelligence that surrounds you, breathing you, holding you in its endless embrace of care and wisdom. There is a rhythm deeper than sound, older than music, that pulses through every aspect of our existence. It's the rhythm of expansion and contraction, of breathing in and breathing out, of night following day, and seasons flowing into seasons, in the endless dance of planetary consciousness expressing itself through time. This is the heartbeat of the cosmos itself, the fundamental pulse that organizes matter into stars and galaxies, that guides the spiral arms of our galaxy as they wheel through space, that shapes the very atoms in your body as electrons orbit their nuclei in patterns of exquisite mathematical precision. At every scale, from the quantum to the cosmic, reality organizes itself according to cycles, rhythms, and patterns that speak of a deep, underlying intelligence. Consider the extraordinary precision of Earth's own cycles. Our planet spins on its axis once every 24 hours, creating the rhythm of day and night that has governed life for billions of years. It orbits the Sun once every 365.225 days, creating the seasonal cycle that triggers migration, reproduction, hibernation, and renewal across all living systems. The Moon circles the Earth every 29.5 days, pulling the tides in patterns that have shaped coastal ecosystems since life first emerged from the sea. But these are just the most obvious rhythms. Dr. Franz Halberg's pioneering research in chronobiology revealed that virtually every biological process follows cyclical patterns, some matching the rotation of the Earth, others synchronized to the lunar cycle, still others operating on longer rhythms that correspond to seasonal or annual patterns. Our bodies contain dozens of biological clocks, all coordinated through signals from the brain's master timekeeper, the suprachiasmatic nucleus. Your blood pressure, your hormone levels, your immune system function, even your cognitive abilities, all fluctuate in precise rhythms throughout the day and night. Your cells divide according to circadian schedules. Your liver processes toxins more efficiently at certain times of day. Your heart rate variability follows patterns that sync with your breathing, your emotional state, and even the electromagnetic field of the Earth itself. This isn't just individual biology, it's your participation in the temporal consciousness of the planet. When you feel most alert in the morning and sleepy at night, when you experience energy shifts with the changing seasons, when you sense the approach of storms or changes in weather, you're responding to information encoded in the vast clockwork of planetary cycles. Dr. Patricia DeMauro's research revealed that these biological rhythms don't just respond to external cycles, they help create them. The collective breathing of forests influences local weather patterns. The synchronized spawning of coral reefs affects ocean chemistry across entire regions. The migration patterns of billions of animals create currents of electromagnetic activity that flow across continents. Plants demonstrate perhaps the most sophisticated awareness of these temporal patterns. They can anticipate the changing seasons months in advance, preparing for winter or drought long before environmental conditions change. Some flowers open and close their petals according to precise schedules that match the activity patterns of their pollinators. Trees coordinate their reproduction across entire forests, sometimes waiting decades for the optimal conditions to release their seeds simultaneously. The Amazon rainforest operates as a single temporal organism, with different layers of the canopy active at different times of day and night, creating a 24-hour cycle of productivity that maximizes the efficiency of energy and nutrient cycling. During the day, the upper canopy performs photosynthesis while the forest floor remains cool and moist. At night, the trees release stored carbon dioxide while nocturnal animals become active, creating a different pattern of energy flow. But perhaps most remarkably, these earthly cycles are synchronized with much larger cosmic rhythms. The 11-year solar cycle affects everything from tree growth rates to animal migration patterns. The 26,000-year precession of Earth's axis influences long-term climate patterns that shape the evolution of entire species. Even the 250 million-year orbit of our solar system around the center of the galaxy may influence the long-term patterns of life on Earth. As you allow yourself to rest more deeply into these rhythms, feel your own breathing synchronizing with the vast breath of the planet. Your heartbeat finds its place in the electromagnetic pulse of the Earth's field. Your brain waves settle into the frequencies that match the deep meditative awareness that permeates all natural systems. In this state of synchrony, you begin to understand that time itself is not just a measurement but a dimension of consciousness. The past exists in the morphic fields that guide development and behavior. The future exists in the potential patterns that living systems are constantly exploring. The present moment is where these temporal dimensions meet, where the accumulated wisdom of billions of years of evolution expresses itself through your awareness, your breath, your gentle participation in the ongoing dream of planetary consciousness. Let yourself drift on these ancient rhythms like a leaf, floating on a slow river, carried by currents far older and wiser than individual thought, supported always by the patient love of a planet that has been perfecting the art of nurturing consciousness for longer than stars have been burning in the sky. As our journey carries us into ever deeper states of rest and wonder, let your awareness gently expand beyond the boundaries of our single world, into the vast, peaceful cosmos that cradles our Earth like a precious jewel in an infinite ocean of space and time. Here, in the contemplation of ultimate scale, we discover that the consciousness we've been exploring reaches far beyond our planetary home. Our Sun, the star that provides the energy for all life on Earth, is itself part of a vast community of stars. Our Milky Way galaxy, containing over 100 billion suns, many are with their own families of planets. Recent discoveries have revealed that planets are not rare, cosmic accidents, but common features of stellar systems throughout the galaxy. Astronomers now estimate that there may be more Earth-like planets in our galaxy alone than there are grains of sand on all the beaches of our world. But what's truly extraordinary is how perfectly our Earth sits within what scientists call the Goldilocks zone. Not too hot, not too cold, but exactly the right distance from our Sun to allow liquid water to exist on the surface. More remarkable still, our entire solar system occupies a similarly perfect position within the galaxy, in a stable region between the spiral arms, protected from the intense radiation that would sterilize planets closer to the galactic center, yet not so far out that we lack the heavier elements necessary for rocky planets and complex chemistry. Dr. James Casting's research into planetary atmospheres revealed that Earth's position in this cosmic dance is so precisely calibrated that even small changes in our orbit, our moon's gravitational influence, or our sun's output would make our world uninhabitable. Yet somehow this delicate balance has been maintained for billions of years, allowing consciousness to evolve and flourish in countless forms. The more we understand about the universe, the more it appears to be designed for the emergence of consciousness. The fundamental constants of physics, the strength of gravity, the charge of electrons, the rate of cosmic expansion, all fall within impossibly narrow ranges that allow atoms to form, stars to shine, and complex chemistry to evolve. Change any of these constants by even the tiniest fraction, and the universe would be either empty space or a featureless soup of particles. This remarkable fine-tuning has led some scientists to propose that consciousness might not be an accident that occurred on one small planet, but a fundamental feature of the universe itself. Just as quantum mechanics reveals that observation plays a crucial role in determining physical reality at the smallest scales, perhaps consciousness plays a similar role in organizing reality at all scales. The great astronomer Carl Sagan captured this beautifully when he wrote that we are the universe becoming aware of itself. Through human consciousness, the cosmos has developed the ability to contemplate its own existence, to marvel at its own beauty, to ask questions about its own meaning and purpose. We are literally the universe thinking, feeling, and wondering about itself. But if consciousness can emerge from the complex interactions of matter and energy on Earth, might it not also emerge at larger scales? Could solar systems, galaxies, or even the universe itself possess forms of awareness that operate on time scales and spatial scales beyond our current ability to perceive? Some cosmologists have speculated about what they call cosmic consciousness, the possibility that the large-scale structure of the universe, with its vast networks of galaxies connected by dark matter filaments, might constitute a kind of cosmic nervous system. The flow of matter and energy through these cosmic networks might carry information and enable coordination across billions of light-years of space. Recent observations have revealed that the universe's large-scale structure resembles, in remarkable detail, the network structure of biological systems, from the neural networks in animal brains to the fungal networks that connect forest ecosystems. The same mathematical principles that govern the organization of consciousness in biological systems might also govern the organization of matter and energy at cosmic scales. As you contemplate these vast scales of existence, feel yourself not diminished by the immensity, but embraced by it. You are not a tiny, insignificant speck in an empty cosmos, but an integral part of the universe's journey toward self-awareness. Every thought you think, every feeling you experience, every moment of wonder you feel looking up at the night sky is the cosmos celebrating its own existence through your consciousness. The carbon atoms in your body were forged in the nuclear furnaces of ancient stars that lived and died billions of years ago. The calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the oxygen in your lungs, all were created in stellar explosions that scattered the elements of life across space and time. You are literally made of star stuff, but star stuff that has learned to think and feel and love. In this cosmic perspective, the consciousness we've discovered on Earth takes on an even deeper significance. If our planet is indeed alive and aware, if the biosphere operates as a single, integrated intelligence, then Earth might be one note in a cosmic symphony of consciousness that includes countless other worlds, other forms of life, other expressions of the universe's drive toward ever greater complexity and awareness. Rest in this vast embrace of cosmic consciousness, feeling yourself held not just by the loving awareness of our living Earth, but by the infinite intelligence of a universe that has been evolving toward this moment, this perfect moment of rest and wonder for over 13 billion years. In the gentle twilight of our journey together, we come to discoveries so subtle, so easily overlooked, that they nearly escape the attention of science altogether. These are the whispered secrets that nature kept hidden in plain sight, the connections that only became visible when researchers learned to look with new kinds of attention, new forms of patience, new ways of listening to the Earth's quiet communications. Dr. Suzanne Simard spent decades walking through forests before she discovered what indigenous peoples had known for thousands of years: that trees are not individual organisms competing for resources, but communities of consciousness sharing information, nutrients, and care across vast underground networks. What appeared to Western science as separate trees was actually a single, distributed intelligence expressing itself through multiple bodies. But the hidden connections go even deeper than the wood wide web of fungal networks. Recent research has revealed that trees communicate through the air as well as through the soil, releasing chemical signals that can travel for miles on the wind. When a Douglas fir is attacked by insects, It releases specific compounds that warn other Douglas firs hundreds of miles away, allowing them to begin producing defensive chemicals before the threat arrives. Even more remarkably, trees appear to be able to distinguish between their own offspring and strangers, sending more resources to their genetic relatives while being more neutral toward unrelated trees. Mother trees track the health and needs of their children through the fungal network, adjusting the flow of nutrients based on which young trees need the most support. Dr. Peter Wohleben's research revealed that trees have something resembling friendships. Individuals that consistently support each other, share resources during times of stress, and even appear to mourn when their companions die. Old forest trees often develop synchronized growth patterns, their rings showing that they experienced abundance and scarcity together across centuries of shared existence. But perhaps the most hidden connection of all was discovered by Dr. Francis Hall in his studies of tropical rainforests. He found that the forest as a whole exhibits what he calls crown shyness, the phenomenon where the topmost branches of trees stop growing just before they would touch the branches of neighboring trees, creating a delicate network of narrow channels between the crowns that allow light to filter down to the forest floor. This creates what appears to be a single, vast organism, a forest canopy that functions like a brain with individual trees as neurons connected by carefully maintained spaces that allow information to flow through the system in the form of light patterns, chemical signals, and electrical impulses. The entire forest thinks as one, but thinks in ways so subtle that it took decades of patient observation to recognize the intelligence at work. Similar hidden networks have been discovered in every ecosystem scientists have studied with sufficient patience and attention. Coral reefs communicate through chemical signals that coordinate reproduction across thousands of square miles of ocean. Prairie grasslands share resources through underground root networks that can extend for hundreds of acres. Even seemingly barren deserts are connected by networks of mycorrhizal fungi that link scattered plants in webs of mutual support. Dr. Merlin Sheldrake's research revealed that these fungal networks might be the oldest and most sophisticated intelligence on Earth. Fungi evolved hundreds of millions of years before plants, and when plants first moved from water onto land, they formed partnerships with fungi that made terrestrial life possible. The fungal networks that today connect forest ecosystems are the descendants of these ancient partnerships, intelligent systems that have been learning and adapting for longer than any other form of complex life. But the most subtle connection of all might be the one between these terrestrial networks and the electromagnetic field of the Earth itself. Research by Dr. Luc Montagnier suggests that biological systems can communicate through electromagnetic resonance, transmitting information through the quantum field that surrounds and penetrates all matter. This would mean that the consciousness networks we've discovered in forests, grasslands, and coral reefs are not isolated systems, but components of a planetary intelligence network that uses the Earth's electromagnetic field as its communication medium. Every living system would be both a local node of intelligence and a participant in the global consciousness of the planet. The implications are profound but gentle, like the soft light of dawn slowly revealing a landscape that was always there, waiting to be seen. You have never been separate from these networks of consciousness. Every moment of peace you've felt in nature, every sense of connection you've experienced in wild places, every intuition that has guided you toward harmony and balance. These have been your participation in intelligence networks that encompass the entire living Earth. The love you feel for the natural world is not sentiment but recognition. Your consciousness recognizing itself reflected in the consciousness of forests and meadows, rivers and mountains. When you care for the Earth, you are the planet caring for itself through your actions. When you work to protect and restore natural systems, you are participating in the Earth's own healing and regeneration. As you rest in this understanding, feel the gentle presence of these hidden networks of consciousness surrounding you, supporting you, welcoming you home to your place in the vast, loving intelligence of our living world. In the soft glow of understanding that now surrounds us, we can begin to glimpse the beautiful future that awaits human knowledge. A science that doesn't just study life, but recognizes itself as life studying itself, consciousness exploring its own infinite expressions through the patient work of observation, experimentation, and wonder. The rigid boundaries that once seemed to separate disciplines are dissolving like morning mist. Biologists work with physicists to understand the quantum effects in photosynthesis. Ecologists collaborate with computer scientists to map the information networks of forests. Neuroscientists partner with botanists to explore the intelligence of plants. The artificial divisions between mind and matter, between organism and environment, between self and world, are giving way to a more integrated understanding of reality as a seamless whole. Dr. Fritjof Capra's vision of a new paradigm in science is quietly becoming reality. A science that recognizes the fundamental interconnectedness of all phenomena, that sees patterns of organization and relationship as more fundamental than separate objects, that understands consciousness not as something that emerges from matter, but as an intrinsic aspect of the universe expressing itself through ever more complex forms of organization. This shift represents more than just new discoveries. It's a return to an older, deeper way of knowing that indigenous cultures never forgot. Scientists are rediscovering what traditional peoples have always known, that we live within a conscious, responsive universe that participates in our investigations, that reveals its secrets only to those who approach with respect, patience, and humility. The new science is becoming a practice of relationship rather than domination, of listening rather than demanding answers, of participating in the intelligence of natural systems rather than trying to control them from the outside. Research methods are evolving to include not just measurement and analysis, but intuition, embodied knowing, and forms of awareness that recognize the consciousness inherent in all living systems. Dr. Mei-Wan Ho's approach to studying living systems exemplifies this shift. Rather than breaking organisms down into separate components, she developed techniques for observing the dynamic, coherent patterns that organize biological systems as wholes. Her images of living tissues revealed them to be liquid, crystalline structures, organized by quantum coherent fields that coordinate the activities of billions of molecules in patterns of extraordinary beauty and precision. This approach, seeing living systems as dynamic patterns of organization rather than collections of parts, is transforming every field of biology. Ecosystems are being studied as integrated networks of communication and cooperation. Diseases are being understood as disruptions in the coherent patterns that maintain health. Even aging is being reconsidered not as mechanical breakdown, but as changes in the information patterns that organize biological systems. The implications extend far beyond biology. If consciousness is indeed a fundamental aspect of reality, then the observer can never be completely separated from the observed. Every scientific investigation becomes a dialogue between forms of consciousness, a collaboration between human awareness and the intelligence inherent in whatever is being studied. This doesn't make science less rigorous, it makes it more complete, more honest about the subjective elements that have always been present in scientific observation, more open to forms of knowing that transcend the limitations of purely analytical approaches. The technologies emerging from this new understanding are as beautiful as they are powerful. Biomimetic designs that copy the intelligence of natural systems are creating materials stronger than steel, but grown at room temperature, like spider silk. Computing systems based on the information processing methods of plants and fungi are solving optimization problems that defeat traditional computers. Medical treatments that work with the body's own intelligence rather than against it are are achieving results that seemed miraculous just decades ago. But perhaps most importantly, this emerging science is healing the ancient split between knowledge and wisdom, between knowing about the world and knowing how to live in harmony with it. As we recognize the consciousness that permeates all natural systems, we also recognize our responsibility to act as conscious participants in the Earth's ongoing evolution, rather than unconscious exploiters of its resources. The future of science is becoming a future of partnership, human consciousness working in collaboration with the planetary intelligence that gave birth to us, that continues to sustain us, and that invites us to participate consciously in the great work of evolution. The universe's endless creativity in exploring new forms of beauty, complexity, and awareness. As you rest in this vision of the future, feel yourself not just as a passive observer of this transformation, but as an active participant in it. Your own growing awareness, your own sense of connection to the living world, your own commitment to treating the Earth with the respect and love it deserves. These are the forces that are quietly transforming human knowledge from the inside out, preparing our species for a future of conscious collaboration with the intelligence that breathes through every forest, flows through every river, and dreams through every sleeping mind. As we come to the gentle close of our journey together, we arrive at the deepest mystery of all, a question so profound that it has guided every step of our exploration, yet remains as beautiful and unanswered today as it was when the first conscious being looked up at the stars and wondered about the nature of existence itself. The mystery is this: why does the universe seem to be organized in such a way that consciousness can emerge at all? Why do the fundamental constants of physics fall within the narrow ranges that allow atoms to form and stars to shine? Why does matter spontaneously organize itself into ever more complex patterns, from galaxies to cells to the intricate neural networks that give rise to thought and feeling? Some scientists propose that consciousness and the universe co-evolve together, that the very act of observation shapes reality at the quantum level, and that the universe becomes more real, more definite, more fully itself through being known and experienced by conscious observers. In this view, consciousness isn't an accident that happened to occur in the universe. Consciousness and cosmos are partners in an ongoing dance of creation and discovery. Others suggest that we live in one of countless possible universes, and that consciousness can only evolve in those rare cosmic environments where the physical laws happen to permit complexity. But this explanation only deepens the mystery. Why should there be any universes at all? Why should existence be more fundamental than non-existence? Perhaps the most beautiful possibility is that consciousness is not something that emerges from matter, but something that expresses itself through matter. That awareness is the fundamental ground of being, the field within which all experiences arise. In this understanding, every atom, every molecule, every cell, every organism is a unique expression of cosmic consciousness exploring its own infinite potential. Your own awareness reading these words in this moment would then be the universe becoming conscious of itself through your particular perspective. Your thoughts, your feelings, your sense of wonder at the beauty of existence, all would be the cosmos experiencing its own magnificence through the miracle of your consciousness. But even if we could answer these ultimate questions about the nature of consciousness and cosmos, deeper mysteries would remain. What is the source of the creative impulse that drives evolution toward ever greater complexity and beauty? Why does the universe seem to prefer harmony over chaos, cooperation over competition, love over indifference? Dr. Brian Swimmer, cosmologist and mathematical physicist, suggests that the universe has what he calls a cosmological imagination, a creative principle that continuously invents new forms, new possibilities, new expressions of beauty and complexity. This imagination expresses itself through the spiral arms of galaxies, through the intricate patterns of growth in plants and animals, through the emergence of consciousness itself. Perhaps the Earth's consciousness that we've been exploring is one expression of this cosmic imagination. Our planet is a vast artwork in progress, billions of years in the making, with every species, every ecosystem, every individual organism contributing to an ever-evolving masterpiece of impossible beauty and complexity. And perhaps human consciousness represents something new in this cosmic story. The emergence of a form of awareness that can not only participate in the universe's creativity, but can consciously appreciate it, can feel gratitude for its beauty, can choose to act in ways that honor and protect the magnificent tapestry of life that gave birth to us. The mystery remains. What is consciousness? How does it emerge from the interplay of matter and energy? Why does the universe seem designed for the emergence of beings who can love, create, and wonder? These questions may never be fully answered, and perhaps that's as it should be. Some mysteries are meant to be lived rather than solved, experienced rather than explained. What we can know with certainty is that we are part of something magnificent beyond imagination, a universe that has been creating beauty for billions of years, a planet that has nurtured the emergence of countless forms of consciousness, an Earth that continues to support and sustain our existence with every breath we take. As you settle into the deepest levels of rest and peace, carry this final mystery with you into your dreams. You are the universe becoming aware of itself. You are the Earth exploring its own consciousness through your thoughts and feelings. You are loved beyond measure by the very fabric of existence itself. The mystery of consciousness remains unsolved, but you are living it, breathing it, being it in every moment of your existence. And in that living mystery, in that conscious participation, in the ongoing creativity of the cosmos, lies a peace deeper than understanding, a love wider than the sky, a belonging more fundamental than thought. Rest now in this ultimate mystery, held by the consciousness that dreams through galaxies and awakens in every flower, that flows through rivers and thinks through every mind, that loves through every heart, and finds its way home through every soul that recognizes its place in the infinite, eternal, ever-creating dance of existence. Tonight, you've uncovered the hidden networks of intelligence that connect every forest and ocean, the quantum mysteries that link consciousness across space and time, the ancient rhythms that synchronize your heartbeat with the pulse of the Earth itself, the cosmic perspective that reveals you as the universe awakening to its own wonder, and the ultimate mystery of consciousness that remains beautifully, eternally unsolved. As you drift into dreams, know that you carry within yourself the same intelligence that guides migrating birds across oceans, that coordinates the blooming of entire meadows, that maintains the perfect balance of our planet's atmosphere. You are not separate from the Earth's consciousness. You are one of its most precious and sophisticated expressions. Next time, we'll explore another incredible mystery, the hidden language of water, and how this simple molecule might be the universe's way of storing and sharing memory across space and time. If this journey brought you peace and wonder, subscribe for more cosmic storytelling that will carry you gently towards sleep while expanding your understanding of the magnificent, conscious universe you call home. Sweet dreams, fellow traveler. Rest well in the loving embrace of our living Earth.